I'm going to be using the Fuzzimp Trio, which is going to be the Echo Moon, the Machina 2, which is a fuzz distortion hybrid pedal, and also the Bongfire, which is right now one of my favorite fuzz pedals for guitar. Because there's only 3 chords and it's gonna sound open, I'm gonna overdub quite a few guitars just to build that wall of sound. That means I'm gonna be overdubbing some fuzz and then adding effects to other guitars that I'm also gonna be overdubbing. If it wasn't for me going to NAMM and checking this pedal out myself, I don't think I would have gotten it.
Gear doesn't make you better. Well, gear made me better because it made me write something this week. And what that is the Machina 2 fuzz pedal from Fuzzimp. Now, this is a dual style distortion and fuzz pedal. Sounds really sick, and this is the tone that I've gotten with it. It is now going through the PV Invectives clean channel and sounds a little bit like this. So that's all with the GOC Guitars Illumina Modern with the stock pickups in it, but I did install a new push-pull coil tap pot inside of this. So that is in the coil tap position on the bridge pickup, and I think it sounds pretty damn good. Now, I am not one who's really ever used a fuzz pedal before. I didn't know what to do with it. Now, when you look up what kind of bands generally use a fuzz pedal, it's usually classic rock bands, obviously because fuzz pedals have been around since way before I was born, and then newer style bands with shoegaze and even grunge and things of that sort, and none of that is music that I'm used to playing, so I didn't know what the heck to do with the fuzz pedal. I just knew that I wanted to figure it out, and messing with software fuzz pedals just never really did it for me. And so I ordered this from Fuzzimp, and this is my second pedal from Fuzzimp, and I'm loving it already. I don't know if that tone that I've created is as much of a fuzz tone as it is a very thick, like distorted tone instead. And that's what I'm loving about it. That is on a split coil pickup on here, and it's sounding thick as hell. And it sounds really good double track. So let's go ahead and go up into Logic, and that riff that I just played you, surprise, surprise, is the riff that we're working with. So let's go ahead and work with it. And just in case anybody's wondering, this is not a sponsored video. I did buy that pedal myself. I'm just loving the pedal so far. And I think everybody should check out Fuzzimp. Descriptions down below as usual, as well as affiliate links for all of the gear that I use to make these videos and all of my past videos as well. But let's go ahead and start tracking this. All right, we're off to a decent start. That's not too bad. Let's drag that track down here and we'll double track it. Let's hope I didn't just jinx myself. So as you heard, that sounds thick as hell. That sounds really, really good. But what we're missing is some drums for it.
Fuzz pedal from Fuzzimp. This is a sick, highly featured fuzz pedal. We're gonna plug it into a digital rig as well as a tube amp. We're gonna plug it into this insane snakeskin Rev Generator 120. And by the end of the video, we are gonna find out which rig sounds the best with this fuzz pedal. You're definitely not gonna wanna miss this one. Alright guys, diode clipping. In the middle position, it's open, so that means I guess there's no diode clipping. And then all the way to the left, you have diode clipping with a high pass filter, which does make the pedal a lot quieter when you're over in that mode. So what we're gonna do first is plug in the Sender 5 into the digital rig and listen to what that sounds like, and then we'll We'll plug it into the Gen 120 and we'll do a little bit of a comparison. So here we go. All right, guys, so I've got my Kiesel Vader 8-string guitar. I have it tuned really low right now, so it's kind of like drop A on the bottom. And then I've got a drop E down here. So super low tuning. That's the tuning that I used in the Time Portal video, the clip of the song that you saw at the beginning of this video. Going into the and we're already off to the races to play some doom metal. So I've got this clipping all the way to the left. That's like the high pass clipping. Add a little bit of gain there. And I like the tone right about there. Right at 7 to 8 o'clock, which I guess is like right over here, is when the gate will start to kick in, but I like to run it right about there.
This is Andrew from the Guitarist Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about Fuzzimp effects. That first jam you just heard was two of their pedals, Creature, Fuzz, and the Echo Moon Delay. So you might be wondering, who is Fuzzimp? Well, they're a one-man operation based out of Amity, Oregon. It's a project by Justice Gash, who is a guy that's just obsessed with fuzz and Telecasters, which we will get to here in a second. So, the first thing I ever knew about Justice, he was not building pedals yet. It must have been 2019, early 2020. He was just a guy that was obsessed with fuzz. And he was doing a whole series where he was collecting as many fuzz pedals as he could. He was shooting them out. I think at one point he might have even plugged them all in together and done a video. He did like a big giveaway. That's kind of how he built his initial following. And then I believe it was early 2020, during the pandemic, he launched his fuzz company. And that was their first lineup, was just a bunch of different fuzzes and overdrives. The Echo Moon is their only current delay offering, which this is, I think, one of my favorite delays ever. And I've had a lot of delay pedals over the years. In this video, we're not going to do a deep dive into each of the 4 pedals that he sent me. I will do individual videos later on. Those will come out in the next couple weeks. I just want to do an introduction to the brand for those that may not have heard about him. He's got some great fuzzes, overdrives. The Echo Moon is currently his only delay pedal that he offers. He doesn't have any reverbs or modulations yet, but we'll see what comes out in this year. So a regular tube scream, all the way to the left, you're getting, accentuated bass. You're getting a high cut. And then, just like a standard overdrive, really, as you turn it up, you get more treble, less bass. Not with this pedal. You go from a lo-fi kind of less of everything kind of thing towards the left. And as you turn it up, the more you get towards just fully maxed out, you're bringing in everything. The mids, the treble, the bass. You're just really pushing the whole spectrum. So I think this is just a really unique overdrive. And it sounds great. It's got, you can do anything from metal, classic rock, blues. It's in here. Paired with that Echo Moon on a lo-fi setting, we had some cool, classic rock, garage rock riffs. Going into our final jam, we have the Machina 2. So this thing is a beast. It's heavy. It's got 7 knobs on it, 2 toggle switches, 2 foot switches. It's just massive. So you're probably thinking, oh, it's just a big muff or something that's super modified. Not really, but you can definitely get big muff sounds out of this thing. So much like the Creature that we talked about earlier, this is an expanded version of this little guy. So you have a lot of the same functionality. These knobs on this side, you have a volume and gain, a toggle switch that goes between silicone and germanium. Your chaos is your overdrive, so controls this half of the pedal. Now, the rest of the knobs, including the one in the center, which is your master volume, those all control the gate, which is your fuzz. So on this pedal, you have, just like you have on the overdrive side, you have germanium and silicone for your clipping. You have the squish, fuzz, gate, soak, and all of these kind of activate within one another. So depending on where you have the gate, you can trigger with the squish, much like the Creature. You could figure out exactly where your self-oscillation frequency is. But you could also just turn everything down. You could have the fuzz cranked, have the soak cranked, but turn the gate up to bleed out the oscillation. And you just get this really great, thick wall of sound fuzz. But just like the Creature, you can also dial it all back, bring in that oscillation, get some crazy, just, Sonic Youth kind of sound going. You can really use this for anything, from light overdrives to those all-out, like I said, wall of fuzz. I really like the overdrive side on its own. It's a nice preamp boost. Reminds me of a DoD 250. Alright everybody, thanks for checking out the video on Fuzzimp effects. Check him out at fuzzimp.com, find him on social media. What else could I say? His pedals are great. I really enjoy them. He's a great dude. If you want to check out his pedals, most of the compact single pedals are $150 or less.
I mean, it's really not that serious. I'm just going to be using 2 effects to get a shoegaze sound. That's going to be fuzz, and the other effect is going to be reverb. For my fuzz, I'm going to be using the Machina 2 by Fuzzimp, and for my reverb, I will be using the reverb from the Chroma Console by Hologram Electronics.
Willy boy, the Machina 2 is over $200 for a fuzz pedal.
I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I only use the best. Would you like me to pitch you a really cheap fuzz pedal? That way, a year later, when you're getting serious about your music, it breaks on you? Now, don't get me wrong. You can still use your plastic fuzz pedals, no problem. But if I were you, I would just invest in better gear if you can. If not, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, now I don't have a designated reverb pedal. Okay, wait a minute, I do. I have the Lore by Walrus Audio, but that's like a reverse generating reverb pedal. That's kind of... In this video, I'm going to be writing a song inspired by Deftones. I kind of feel like my channel and my content recently equates to that one meme where they're like, Mom, I want to go see Deftones. And she's like, we have Deftones at home. I'm Deftones at home. Just a disclaimer to anyone who's probably going to disagree. Fuzz/overdrive pedal that I just received from Fuzzimp. Now this is an overdrive and a fuzz pedal. I've been getting acquainted with this for the past few days, and I mean, I haven't stopped playing it, to be honest. I already set up the controls how I want it, as far as my overdrive and my fuzz for this Deftones style song. No disrespect to the IC78 here on the side, I just need to get some more patch cables and some Velcro so that I can add it to my pedal board. So let me show you guys what this can do. So if you guys are interested in the long form of, I switched over to the Fuzzimp. I'm going to be using the overdrive side for our rhythm guitar. And now I'm going to go ahead and add some heavy fuzz guitar, also using the Machina 2 by Fuzzimp. For lead guitar, I'm going to be using the same setup on the Machina 2, only I'm just going to be playing on a different pickup. I'm going to be overdubbing those same octave parts, but just with a clean channel. I'm going to use some overdrive with the Machina 2, the heavy distortion side, and then I'm going to go ahead and also overdub some heavy fuzz with the IC78 by Bananalabs. This distortion is the Machina 2 by Fuzzimp. I'm using the heavy distortion side of this pedal. Now keep in mind I am going to be overdubbing each individual guitar except for the lead. Next today I'm going to be using the Machina 2 overdrive. This is going to be the overdrive side. We got the fuzz side, but we just want a little bit of grit. So we're just going to be using a little bit of gain here. Also going to be using the Chroma console by Hologram Electronics. And I'm going to be using the cassette texture on here as well as some reverb. And the For the bass, I'm still going to be using the Machina 2 for the overdrive, just a little bit. And we're going to be using the same amount of reverb here, only I'm not going to be using the cassette texture effect. And of course, we will still be using the chorus for the bass. In this video, I'm going to be transforming a classic hit song into a shoegaze song. Now, originally, this was supposed to be writing a song inspired by Slow Crush and their song Glow. But as I was putting the song together and writing the vocal melody, it started to sound a lot like John Lennon's Imagine. So since I've already transformed a classic hit... Imagine all the people part. One of my favorite fuzz pedals, the Machina 2 by Fuzzimp. I also kind of want to make the fuzz sound a little bit spacey, so I'm going to throw in the Swan Hunter by Champion Lacey as well. Now, because the fuzz can be a little bit chaotic, and which is a good thing, I also want to make sure that you guys can hear the notes a little bit more clearly. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of overdrive with the Machina 2. I'll be using the JHS chorus pedal, and that's about it. For the bass, the only thing I'm going to be using as far as effects is just a little bit of overdrive from the Machina 2. So we have our spacey heavy fuzz guitar, and we also have a little bit of color and a little bit of overdrive for our second rhythm guitar, I guess it would be. I'm sure there have been plenty covers of this song, but has anyone ever done a shoegaze cover?